What's that one cringe-inducing memory from years ago that you can't get out of your head? Doing a practice for a play in front of a small crowd of like maybe 35-50 people when I shit my pants. Middle of my lines I felt the wetness and had to run off stage. I kept myself locked in a room the rest of the day. High school play. I start improvising. I don't even know why I did it. I just got so into the moment I forgot there was a script. God, I can't even describe it in complete sentences. I hate me in that moment. Went for an interview and handed the person my coat when they were trying to shake my hand. At the end of a great job interview, shook the guy's wrist instead of his hand and held on like I meant to do it. Didn't get the job. I was interested in a guy but didn't know how to start a conversation with him. We were standing next to each other while preparing food for a barbecue and I just thought it was a good idea to start a conversation with, "I like the feeling of touching raw meat." This was in school. We were playing a game where one person chased everyone else, and when they touched you, you had to go to jail. That meant you had to put your arms inside the torso part of your sweater, and the sleeves got tied around a pole. You had to get loose to be free again, either on your own or by the help of someone else. I think I was about 11 at the time. I got caught and tied to a pole, but I was wearing a hoodie with a zipper, so I felt incredibly smart when I unzipped it from the inside and ran away shouting, "Ha!" Thing is, I had forgotten to put on a t-shirt under the hoodie, and I was an early bloomer, so I basically showed the whole schoolyard my recently grown tits. Shudder. When I was 16 I got set up with a family friend's daughter. We started dating in a long distance relationship. After a month or so it was school holidays and I went up to visit her. I didn't have a lot of money, but I wanted to buy her a gift. I settled on a beautiful jigsaw puzzle. She wasn't too happy about the gift because she was blind. Yes, I bought my blind girlfriend a jigsaw puzzle. In the moment it seemed very appropriate because each piece was unique, right? She can feel the pieces, right? Pure effing cringe. Still haunts me. I was walking back to my car after a grocery trip and an older gentleman said hello to me as I walked past. My brain completely short-circuited and I responded with GGGGGG and quietly trailed off, averting my gaze and walking faster. Right, I grew up in an extremely sheltered household, so my brain just didn't understand/know what racism was, and we were trying to pick teams for basketball and I tried to organize by color. I was a stupid child. The time my internet access was shot over a weekend, so I went to work as usual on Monday and stayed and worked all day and only found out I'd been fired the week before when I got home. Small, very high profile business. Everyone was acting weird all day. I soft broil myself to sleep in this memory. Definitely that time my professor asked what I did over the summer and I wanted to say hanging around and catching up with sleep. All I managed to blurt out was sleeping around. That wasn't even true. In 5th grade I went to school on Halloween costume day completely dressed up like a pirate. Makeup, costume, hair, everything. Walked into school only to realize no one else was wearing a costume and that dress up day was tomorrow. Had to wait until lunch for my mom to bring me new clothes. Severe lack of social skills and a desperate desire for attention made me lick a gym floor for a solid 3 feet. Streak to try and impress a pretty girl. I don't know what the hell I was thinking, lol. When I was 16 I offered to take a girl I liked to the movies. I approached the ticket counter and asked for one movie ticket. Immediately realized I was an idiot, but was too embarrassed to rectify my mistake. She purchased her own ticket to the movie. Still haunts me almost 10 years later. I was a bit drunk at a friend's wedding and decided to scroll all over 2 pages of her wedding book to fill up some space. Later someone was looking at the book and I heard them say, "Look at this. What sort of person does that?" I still feel bad when I think about it. trying to run away from home when I was 6, only to stop at the start of the driveway because I was always told that it was dangerous to walk on the street without an adult. My parents have this really nice photo of me with my little backpack, standing there looking really conflicted. I fell into a fountain, not once but 3 different times in 3 different fountains, on a trip to Europe with a group of kids from school when I was in 7th grade. Of course my crush and his friends went on this trip and they proceeded to call me Fountain Girl till high school graduation. Farted in class during a test back in middle school. Everybody knew it was me, but I was too awkward to confirm or deny it, so I just acted oblivious. That fart must have been pretty awful because a bunch of classmates around me covered their noses with their shirts and the teacher cracked open a window. Just the complete awkward silence that followed the fart and the feeling of everybody staring at me in disgust still makes me shudder with cringe whenever I think about it. When I told everyone that I was auditioning for the national talent show in my country and got rejected after singing 2 verses in the producer's auditions, that made for an awkward return to school. So for context, I went to a really sheltered Catholic high school, so didn't really know how the real world worked. My first job when I was 16, and I'm being introduced to all my co-workers. One of them named Morris, who was obviously homosexual, asked me if I was too. I wasn't but wanted to let him know I was cool with it, again Catholic high school, and said, no but I'm open-minded about it. To which he responded, we're gonna work on that. What an awkward summer. I cringe every time. I fell asleep in my high school history class. I was all the way in the back of the room, so the teacher never noticed. Until I farted in my sleep, so loud that it woke me up, and my head shot up and smacked against the back wall. Never heard the end of it. Me pooping in my pants in 1st grade, because I thought pooping in toilets other than my own is illegal. In the 1st grade I moved to a new school in a small town. 2 months in I would literally lose bowel function for no apparent reason. Totally watery and intense abdominal cramps. I was shy and didn't have any friends yet. I was embarrassed and would just sit there in my own mess until the teacher noticed. This went on every day. Eventually they sent me to the principal's office and the nurse, teacher, and my parents thought I was just seeking attention. Despite packing 2 new pairs of unders and pants each day, I would still be soaked at the end of the day. Over the next 2 weeks I kept getting in trouble. I was held in from recess and had to sit in the hallway alone when I ran out of clothes for the day. I had to eat lunch alone and spent at least half of my day sitting by myself in the hallway staring at the wall. When my parents finally took me to the doctor, they found a strange intestinal infection with no cure. It eventually went away. So for 1 month in a new school I was that shy weird kid who smelled bad and couldn't participate in any activities. I graduated HS 12 years later with the same small class of students. It wasn't until my 10-year class reunion that one of my classmates, now a nurse, told me they all felt so bad for me and never brought it up because they felt like I was being abused when they saw me sitting alone in the hall in my soaked clothing. This restored my faith in how kind other kids can be. Doing a promposal for a girl who broke up with me 2 days after. Or 3rd grade spelling bee. I misspelled field and lost it on stage. I'm a Canadian and we had this show in the 2000s called Radio Free Roscoe. I was obsessed with this show. I watched it religiously on the Family Channel. My aunt had a friend who was a makeup artist for the show, and so she managed to get us on set to meet the cast and visit all the different places. My 11-year-old self was ecstatic. It was the most incredible thing to happen to me. My brother and my cousin went with us. We get to the set and it's amazing and everything I had hoped it would be. We got to see them film a scene and see all the behind the scenes stuff. It was incredible. We went to do the meet and greet with the cast, and I was so nervous but excited. I'm an awkward girl and super oblivious, especially when I'm nervous. Kate Todd, the female co-star, was being super sweet with me because I was the only girl in our group. She called me over to sit with her for the photos and used her hand to pat the seat beside her. Being oblivious, I missed the seat pat and went and sat directly on her lap. I'm 27 years old now, and I still remember her saying, "Oh, okay," in a super surprised voice. I was mortified that I just sat on her damn lap like a baby instead of beside her like she intended. I honestly couldn't look anyone in the eyes again after that. I still cringe to this day thinking about sitting on her damn lap. She was super sweet about it, but I knew I had fucked up. Touching tongues with my younger sister. We wanted to know why tongues tasted like, so we stuck our tongues out, booped our tongues together, and almost vomited. So my mom had won this prize at a big shopping center. She was allowed to take 3 guests for a day of shopping that included gift cards at various stores and a $250 gift card at a restaurant of her choice for us to eat at. Anyways, it was a big deal, and they had a film crew come and tape some of it for their website. The reporter lady comes up to me when the food arrives, and she's like, "That looks fantastic. What did you get?" And I was caught off guard, so I look at the camera and go, "Gift cards." Ultimate cringe, and it took me about half a second to realize what she meant. When I think about it now, at least I can laugh about it. This guy in one of my classes in 8th grade I was friendly with BC. He didn't seem to be good friends with anyone else in the class. He was a nice kid, just maybe a little awkward, but we had good conversations about so hey. Then one day at the end of the period we were both packing up our stuff and he says, "Hey, do you want to go out with me next Wednesday?" Wasn't interested in him that way, and I was so off guard that I froze like a deer in the headlights until I finally stammered up, "I think my mom has plans, sorry, bye," and basically ran out of the room. I still feel bad about it. Every time I saw him in middle school and high school after that I felt terrible. Sorry, Colin. Oh man. Some context. My best friend growing up was black. We were inseparable. We wanted to make video games together when we grew up, all that. Well, he went with me and another member of my family to the store. As we were driving, a man nearly ran into my other family member's car, and my other family member shouted, "Effing N-er." It got quiet in the car. Then my other family member said to my best friend in the back, "You're not the N-er I was talking to," as a way to apologize. I was young, but even then I knew something awful had happened. It completely changed how I looked at my other family member and how my best friend looked at my family. We stayed friends, but I had to hang out at his house since he stopped coming to mine. Couldn't blame him. Super cringy, life changing. Ran face first into a bench when I was 16 and cried, haha. Only one person saw, and of course it was my crush at the time. Oof. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to consider the idea to maybe think about potentially subscribing. Peace.